So you're going to start with a magic ring, and then we are going to single crochet 6 into the ring. Pull the ring tight and then slip stitch into that first single crochet that we did. To start our next round, chain 1. In the same stitch as the slip stitch, single crochet 1, and then we're going to single crochet another one into that same stitch, so we're going to increase. Keep doing 2 single crochets in each stitch. End the round, slip stitch, and then chain 1 to start round 3. Single crochet into that very first stitch, and then in the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets, so you're going to increase in that second stitch. And to finish that round, slip stitch and chain 1 to start our 4th round. And now we're going to do 2 single crochets, and in that 3rd stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets, so it's going to be an increase in that 3rd stitch, and keep repeating that pattern all the way around. End the round with a slip stitch and chain 1 to start round 5. Single crochet 3, and in that 4th stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets, so we're going to increase in that 4th stitch. Keep repeating that pattern all the way around. End the round with a slip stitch and chain 1 to start our 6th round. Now we're going to single crochet 4, and in our 5th stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets, so we're going to increase in that 5th stitch and keep repeating that pattern all the way around. End the round with a slip stitch, chain 1 to start our 7th round, and we're going to single crochet 5, and then in that 6th stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets, so we're going to increase in the 6th stitch and keep repeating that pattern all the way around. To end the round, slip stitch and then chain 1. From rounds 8 to 14 we're going to single crochet 42 all the way around, so I'll meet you at the end. Don't forget to end each round with a slip stitch and chain 1 at the start of every round. So we should have 14 rounds now, and to start our 15th, chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet 5, and then in our 6th stitch we're going to decrease. So you're going to insert your hook into the next 2 front loops and then you're going to single crochet as normal. Keep repeating this pattern all the way around. End with a slip stitch, and then to start our 16th round, chain 1. Then we're going to single crochet 4, and in our 5th stitch we're going to decrease, so you're going to use those 2 front loops and single crochet. Keep repeating this pattern all the way around. End the round with a slip stitch, and then chain 1 to start our next round. Now we're going to single crochet 3, and in our 4th stitch we're going to use those 2 front loops and single crochet as usual to decrease. To end the round, slip stitch, and then this is when I add some stuff in. You can also use some yarn scraps if you don't have any stuff in. And now we're going to start round 17, so we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then decrease in the 3rd stitch, so use those 2 front loops and single crochet. And keep repeating this pattern all the way around. End the round, slip stitch, and then chain 1 to start our next round. We're going to single crochet 1, and in the next stitch we're going to decrease, so use those 2 front loops, and keep repeating that all the way around. Keep repeating this pattern all the way around. And then to finish the round, slip stitch. To start our 19th round, we're going to chain 1. And now you're going to decrease 6 times, so you're going to go into those 2 front loops and single crochet, and into the next 2 front loops and single crochet, and keep doing this all the way around. And finish the round with a slip stitch. pull up a loop and cut quite a long tail. And then thread a needle onto the tail. And then we're just going to sew this hole closed. So you're going to go into those top front loops and just insert your needle into each and every one. And then you're going to pull that tail quite tight and then fasten off that tail by poking it through the magic ring and out anywhere. And then I go into a stitch next to it and just insert that needle through the loop and pull. And then I just poke that back through one of the holes I just used and out through another side, and I cut that excess there. So go ahead and make another ball. Now we're going to add our details onto them, so I'm just going to add some white thread to mine. Insert through that magic ring and then just sew little sprinkles onto the ball. And then to secure the white thread, just simply knot and then hide those tails by just poking them back into the ball. Now to create the stem, we're going to start with some brown thread and I'm going to make a magic ring. Then you're going to single crochet 6 into that ring. Pull the ring tight and then slip stitch into that first single crochet that we did. Chain 1 to start our next round. Now we're going to increase in the next 6 stitches, so we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. End around, slip stitch. And then chain 1 to start round 3. From rounds 3 to 9, we're going to single crochet 12 all the way around. So I'll meet you at the end. And don't forget, at the end of each round, slip stitch and chain 1 at the start of every round. To finish, we're going to slip stitch and then cut quite a long tail. You'll also need to add some stuffing into the stem, or again you can use yarn scraps. Now that we have all our pieces, we can start to sew them all together. So we're going to start with the 2 strawberries, and we're going to start sewing on round 3. So on both the strawberries, we're just going to keep sewing into that 3rd round. Again, I'm quite new to sewing, so I'm really not the best at it, and they still came out quite good, so you don't need to be the best at it. If sewing is something that you really struggle with, you could probably hot glue all these pieces together. I think that will work as well. So now that our piece is sewn together, we can go ahead and pull those tails, those 2 tails, and that will secure the 2 together very tightly. And then once you've done that, just cut the tails and thread them back up to the top or the bottom, back into the magic ring. Tie a knot in both the tails just to secure. Now I'm going to add a face. So I've mapped out where I want the face to be using pins. I don't really use specific rounds, I just go with feel. And then I'll add the yarn into the bottom of the magic ring and start with the eyes. And then I'll go on to the next eye. And then I'll go onto the mouth. So on that last stitch of the mouth, I'll finish that off and I'll poke that needle back down from where I started, which was the magic ring. And then I can tie those 2 tails in a knot. And now we can add our hood. This part is the trickiest part because there's no real way of doing it, like you can't follow it round. So I'm just mapping out where round 3 is on the strawberry because that's where I want to attach it onto the strawberry. And then once I'm happy with that, I add a pin onto the hood to secure that just so it doesn't move around too much and it goes a bit wonky. And then I just sew that the same way that I secured the 2 strawberries together. And then to secure it, just tie those two tails together in the end. You can also glue the head into position into the hood. I don't glue it because I like mine to be removable for some unknown reason. And now we just need to add our last piece, which is going to be the stem. So we're going to use that second round and we're just going to sew that into position. This part is probably the easiest part to attach, but we're just going to attach it the same way that we attached the two strawberries together, by going into that second round and then back into the next stitch of our stem. And then once you've sewn that together, just go ahead and hide those tails by going back through the magic ring and then creating one of those loops. And thread the needle through that loop. And then cut off the excess yarn. Last thing we're going to make is a little bow. So we're going to start with a magic ring and then we're going to chain 3. And then double crochet 3 into that magic ring. Chain 3 and slip stitch back into that magic ring. I like to pull it just a little bit here to make it easier to work with. And then we're going to chain 3 again. And double crochet 3 into the magic ring. And then chain 3 and slip stitch back into that ring. Pull that ring really tight. And then pull up a loop and cut a tail. With one of the tails, you're just going to wrap that around the center of the bow. Quite tight and about 3 or 4 times. And then just tie those 2 tails in a knot at the back. And then all you need to do is just glue that bow into position and we've done. Thanks for watching. Happy crocheting!